Episode 99. Love is in the air. Jade nodded in a daze. There was a sweet smile on her face as she said, "Yes, I miss Mr. Foster." This was the first time she had taken the initiative to say that she missed him. A flash of joy flashed across Dario's eyes, and he kissed her even deeper. Jade's forehead was covered in sweat. Just when she was feeling hot and irritated, she suddenly felt a cold feeling. It was as if someone had taken off her clothes. Her eyes opened in a daze. Because she was just too tired, she didn't struggle at all and let the other person take off her clothes. She thought that it was just a dream anyway, so what did it matter? "Didn't I tell you, when you sleep, you can't wear underwear? It isn't good for the development of your chest." Jade felt that the clothes she'd been wearing were taken off. She seemed to have been changed into light pajamas. Since she'd been sleeping in her clothes, she felt much more comfortable. Her ample chest was also revealed. Dario couldn't look away. Jade still wasn't awake, but Dario immediately developed a desire for her. Jade rubbed her head against his chest again and closed her eyes comfortably. Just as she was about to cover herself with the blanket and continue sleeping, she suddenly felt a weight pressing on her body. Another body that was hot to the point of overheating was getting closer to her. Her chest was firmly pressed against her. Then, a strange feeling arose from within her body. Dario kissed her tightly shut eyes and then reached out his hand to touch her delicate nose, rosy cheeks, and cherry lips. Then his hand slowly moved down to her sexy collarbone and finally to her full chest. "Mr. Foster, don't be like this. It's so itchy. I'm going to sleep." Jade pouted and couldn't help but call out. Her words seemed to be deliberately trying to seduce him, and her hoarse and low voice together with her half-exposed chest made Dario even less able to control himself. Dario originally wanted to make love to her directly, but when he saw her sleeping so soundly, he couldn't bear to wake her up. He only cursed in his heart. Damn it. Then he immediately rushed to the bathroom and took a cold shower. When he calmed down, he returned to the bed and hugged her to let her sleep. In her sleep, Jade seemed to hear someone talking to her. "You must remember to think about me tomorrow, otherwise I'll punish you." But she was too tired and didn't have the strength to answer. She fell into a deep sleep. She didn't know if she was in a dream or reality. When she woke up the next day, Jade didn't know how long she had slept, but she remembered the night. At first, she didn't sleep well, but then she suddenly fell asleep. And that morning, Sheila woke her up. Sheila came to knock on the door and asked her to come out for breakfast. Jade hurriedly got up and patted her forehead, blaming herself. Strange, why did I oversleep? I wanted to change shifts with Sheila. Just as Jade was about to get out of bed, she suddenly discovered something important. Where were her clothes? What was going on? Why was she wearing super sexy hollow pajamas? She clearly remembered that she was wearing underwear the day before, and she didn't take off her clothes before falling asleep. Did she prepare pajamas yesterday? Jade was dumbfounded. She carefully recalled what happened yesterday, and her heart suddenly shook. She seemed to have seen Dario during the night. She even seemed to remember touching and kissing him. Could it be true? Was it a dream? Jade's face instantly turned red, but there was no one with her. She touched the bedsheet beside her and felt that it was cold. She looked around again and saw no signs of anyone around. The room was exactly the same as the night before. She felt depressed. Could it be that she sleepwalked yesterday, changed her clothes, and dreamed that she had sex with Dario? "Jade, are you shameless? Calm down. Calm down. You haven't seen him since yesterday. Are you already in the heat of missing me?" Jade patted her face to stop herself from thinking too much. She quickly changed her clothes and folded her sexy pajamas. She went to wash her face and found that her face looked full of love in the mirror. She almost felt that she didn't know herself. She specially washed her face with cold water several times before the touch of lust she saw disappeared. When eating breakfast, Jade felt that it had a familiar taste, and the eggs were actually fried into the shape of hearts. Why did the hospital's food seem so loving? After Jade finished breakfast, her mood was unsettled. She really couldn't take it anymore and secretly ran over to Sheila to ask if anyone had come to look for her in the morning. But Sheila said that no one had. "What about last night?" Jade asked nervously. She felt Dario had been there last night. Otherwise, she wouldn't have woken up in her pajamas. It was really strange. "No, Jade. What's wrong with you? Hey, why is your face so red? Do you have a fever?" Sheila worriedly reached out her hand to touch Jade's forehead and muttered to herself, It's not very hot. Jade hurriedly lowered her head and said awkwardly, "No, maybe it's because I turned the heat up too high last night. I think I'm just a little hot and didn't have a fever. Don't worry." Jade then seriously turned back to look at her grandmother. Iris was much more energetic than the day before. Her appetite was also very good. She had a bowl of porridge and some side dishes, and the doctor said that as long as Iris had a good rest and took her medicine on time, she would be able to return to normal very quickly. That was the best news that Jade had heard for a very long time. "Jade, are you really in love with Mr. Foster?" Sheila looked at Jade worriedly. Sheila was especially concerned because of Jade's face, which was red and swollen. When she heard the word love, Jade's heart suddenly jumped. "It's not love, but Sheila, I've already gotten my marriage certificate with him. I'm already his wife." Jade lowered her head, and her emotions were complicated. She kept thinking about what Sheila said to her. She didn't know whether it was love or not, and now that she didn't see him, she would keep thinking about him. But how could she fall in love with him? "Jade, you have to think about your marriage clearly. Some people, you can't only look at them on the surface, especially handsome and rich men. I've seen many men in the hospital who like to flirt outside. Some men even have more than one mistress." Sheila was very worried because she wasn't exaggerating at all. She had seen the actions of many rich men with her own eyes. Many pregnant mistresses came to the hospital. If they weren't bewitched by looks, then they were by money. She was afraid that Jade would be deceived as well. "It won't happen, Sheila. I believe in him," Jade said firmly. Although she hadn't completely fallen in love with Dario yet, she thought that since she already agreed to marry him, she should choose to believe in him. And she didn't believe he was the kind of person that would deceive her.